The year is 2019. Some crafty players figure out that you could dye leather sets to any color, but the trend doesn't catch on much because having sets of different colors ruins their value. The admins outright remove dyeing because of people scamming with fake sets. Colored armor isn't gone though, in fact it starts being desired more than ever. Flash forward to 2 years later, and well, exotic armor explodes in popularity. It becomes the trendiest and most expensive armor in the game. So many collectors want as much as possible that prices skyrocket. I myself have amassed a collection valued at over 4 billion coins. So much has happened since my last video, so today, let me be your guide through the world of exotic armor. I'm going to show you the armor finding technology being developed behind the scenes and show you how even you can hunt for sets of your very own. Enjoy guys, because it doesn't get much better than this. I know what you may be thinking right now. Is there even a practical use for dumping hundreds of millions of coins just for some armor that's been colored the wrong way? Yes, there is. Swag points. A colored armor set isn't just a way to rack up defense or use an ability, but becomes something special that sets you apart from others. The usual Skyblock player has a default colored Necron set, which is red, so when you see someone with a black set, it catches your attention.
The whole point of having this set is to flex it, okay? Black Necron isn't any different from red Necron. It's the same armor, it's got the same stats and everything, but it looks so hot, and especially since there's only 5 in the game, you know?
It's just like buying designer clothes in real life, but if you know anything about that, you know it comes at a cost. As I've said before, a lot has changed since my last video on exotic armor. We are now inside of my museum, which has, thanks to you mad lads, become the 10th most visited island on the server. You could visit this collection by typing /visit FRZE to check out some new additions like these 4 100k Midas staffs, which I covered in my previous video, this obsidian chestplate with negative speed, and so much more. Most notably, I built a whole new branch of my museum dedicated to displaying some of the server's best armor. Now this is where we could finally begin to talk about exotics. These are OG dyed dragon sets from years ago that have been dyed specifically to match their respective helmets. Check out this cool mint miner set. And this is an incredibly rare leaflet set that also has one of the rarest colors, mint. Why is everyone so obsessed with mint? Anyway, if you think that was rare, check out this pumpkin set. You heard me right, pumpkin. I bet you didn't even know there was such thing as pumpkin armor. It's so rare that I completely missed it in my last video because the first ones were actually only recently discovered. And this set isn't alone. As you may know, exotic sets are no longer obtainable. They're relics of an age of Skyblock that was gone a long time ago. As time goes on, they only get more rare. So not surprisingly, there's been a movement to locate the rest of the sets out there. Searching the auction house or asking in Discord servers was no longer enough to seek out all of the exotic sets. We had to go deeper. Even then, we can only touch the tip of the iceberg. With new technology, we've been able to find this pumpkin set, armor of the pack, fairy, crystal, spooky, and sponge all discovered in unique colors with incredibly limited quantity. Of course, other rare colors and sets are also being found, and some people are so crazy about collecting them that they literally end up buying warehouses of them. One of these people, the supposed king of angler sets, just so happens to be my friend Treox, who's appeared on this channel time and time again. So let's hear it from him this time. Treox, just how many angler sets do you have at this point?
Yeah, so at the moment, I currently have 45 angler sets. Almost every single one of them is a different hex. I have a few duplicate sets, but for the most part, they're all different.
I think we're all a little curious. How much would you guess that you've spent on all of these sets?
So in total, I've probably spent around 2 to 3 billion in angler sets. Probably around now, they'd be closer worth in total to like 3 to 4 billion.
Thanks for joining us, Treox. But how are people suddenly finding so many more exotic armors? How did we find so many more of these pieces if they were becoming increasingly rare in the public? Well, it was time to get real. The first solution was a custom-coded Discord bot that looked at every single armor piece being uploaded to the auction for us, from the lowly leaflet armor to the endgame Necron sets being put on auction. It would notify us if that armor piece had a hex code which represents color that was different than normal. But even that was not enough to quench our thirst for finding block game clothes. We would not give up in the search for slightly discolored armor sets. A developer by the name of Ryan H. Code took to the task of improving this model by creating an exotic colors scanner that he named Tropical. The Tropical bot completely scrapped the idea of checking the auction house and went in a lot more depth. Here's how it worked. Since the exotic armor sets weren't found as much on auction anymore, they decided to check the inventories of players, since the players themselves would probably be the ones holding onto the exotic pieces. When you're in a lobby, the mod scans every other player in the lobby and then checks their co-op members too. After the mod creates a queue of players to search, it locates every armor in their inventory, armor slots, ender chest, bag, wardrobe, and vault to see if they have anything different than normal. Don't worry, this is completely fair game within the server's rules. Then the exotic armor hunters simply could lobby hop until the mod notified them of a set in their lobby. Even then, the Tropical bot could not locate as many exotic armor sets. Like all the other mods developed, this one had its fair share of problems. The mod would only work if someone in your lobby had an exotic piece. In other words, you were limited to the 1% of players who actually still play the game, while the other 99% of them would remain completely undiscovered. And not only that, due to the recent attention drawn to exotic armor, most of the players who already play the game knew that their exotic armor sets were worth something. So there would be little to no success in actually getting more sets from them. But as a wise man once said, if you can't find exotic armor, screw it, we just gotta try harder. So instead of just looking through the 1% of players who actually play, it was time to maybe look at 100% of players. What if instead of scanning players in your lobby, you scanned through a player's friends list? You see, if a player has, for example, 3 friends, we add them to a queue that acts as a line for being scanned. Now, when the scanner scans them, it'll look at that person's friends list and add them all to the line. This line keeps getting infinitely bigger and bigger until it searched every player to ever log on to Hypixel. Well, unless you have no friends, then we didn't scan you. We could then check all of their stuff and see exactly who owns what and put it in a database. I started to code one of these myself and eventually managed to get it to work after maybe 1,000 errors. Look at it go, it could literally be scanning you right now, unless you have no friends. And all of this just to find a few exotic armor sets. But just like every other exotic armor set method, this still was not perfect. Even if this bot scans every single armor set in existence on the Hypixel network, I still don't own every exotic set after having this database. I'm sitting with what is essentially a phone book of every player, and yet there are thousands upon thousands of untouched sets out there. I was still not satisfied. But why? There's so many sets that I cannot physically get them all myself. I needed to devise a plan to revolutionize the current market. I had to go harder. I was reaching the limit of what I could possibly do. I could not take the quest of finding discolored leather armor sets on my own, so I had to assemble a dream team. Alongside myself, Ryan H. Code, inventor of Tropical, joined me, as well as Sad, who you might recognize as being Technoblade's head goon during the Potato War. You might be wondering, head goon's Sad? What is he doing here? It turns out that he's actually a very talented programmer, and during the Potato War, he made Technoblade multiple programs to help him get an edge over Squid Kid. Squid Kid had no shot of buying Tarasilk because Sad literally made a program that notified Technoblade every single time he bid on one. Now, the 3 of us got to work.
What the dog doing?
Well, 2.5, because I broke my hand. If you're wondering why it's been taking me so long to upload, it's mostly because playing Hypixel is not easy with one hand. Just look at how I had to map my controls to my mouse. And not only that, but my account got hacked into and I got banned from the server for 30 days. But I pulled through, and after a while, it was finally done. A thing that would top every other method of finding exotic armor sets. The exotic armor sets would not be able to hide from us anymore. And by us, I mean the newly developed Tropical 3.0. Tropical 3 is a platform for new and old collectors alike to buy, sell, and discover from the server's greatest database of exotic armor pieces. You could create your own profile, search for specific pieces, and mark your pieces as for sale. The best part about this is it's completely free. This is not sponsored. The Tropical team and I made this so you could start your collection easier than ever before and find something exactly in your price range and exactly to your color preference. Feel free to browse the website put on screen and in the description, and if you like it, install the mod. The mod will automatically scan every armor set in your lobby and notify you if either it's never seen it before or if it's for sale. After a couple of minutes, they all get uploaded to the website, so if you don't want it, others can try their shot at getting it. Build your collection with Tropical, and I hope you find as much of a love for these armor pieces as I have in the past few months. I know you're probably excited to get started and burn a hole in your purse, but let me give you a couple of warnings about what is and what is not exotic, since there's a few confusing things. There were basically a couple of glitches where you could dye armor a couple of colors. I'll put them up on screen for your reference. Any set dyed to these colors are worth pretty much nothing, so don't mistake them. I typically avoid shades of purple, pink, and white in general. Why, you may ask? Because these are most likely dyed from fairy or crystal set dyeing methods, which is one of the most common bug methods to dye armor. As such, it's not really that exotic, is it? Another word you may hear in the exotic community is hex code, which is a 6-digit code that represents your color's armor. If you want to find this, or if someone asks you for it, here's how you do it. To check its hex, simply type F3 and H, and when you hover over a piece of armor, you should see a 6-digit code there. If it says died, just do it again. With that out of the way, happy hunting, and I hope to see you in my next video.